still loses on paper. The Rockwell Commander promised luxury, strength, and comfort. But numbers, timing, and market reality quietly sealed its fate. And here's where it all starts. The name Rockwell. Just saying it out loud makes you pause. This isn't some weekend tinkerer trying to make a cute little four-seater. Rockwell built warbirds, jets that broke speed records, and hardware that literally went to the moon. Apollo missions, people, they weren't new to serious engineering. Then there were the Aero Commander twins, the ones that carried presidents, CEOs, the kind of folks you don't want to spill coffee on during turbulence. And the Jet Commander, which later evolved into the West Wing, sleek, capable, impressive. These weren't just planes, they were statements. So when Rockwell said they were going into general aviation, pilots didn't just blink. Expectations were sky high. But here's the kicker. Despite all that pedigree, Rockwell had a hole in their lineup. They didn't have that clean, modern, owner-flown single that could take a pilot from a humble one, 72 all the way up to a corporate twin or jet, without defecting to Wichita or Vero Beach. Cessna, Piper, Beach, they all had that ladder, that step-up plan. Rockwell? Pieces were there, but they didn't feel like a family. And that's why context matters. Before you even talk about the commander's cabin, its landing gear, or its speed, you have to understand what Rockwell was trying to do. Create a coherent path for pilots to stay in the brand, to grow with it, to feel like the airplane was part of something bigger. That ambition alone set the stage for something extraordinary. If only the market had played along.
Go ahead.
And here's where Rockwell's ambition really shows. The Commander wasn't just another four-seater. It was meant to be the start of a whole family. Picture this. You step into a fixed-gear single, then move up to a retractable single, and eventually graduate to a six-seat twin. The 112 was supposed to be the spearhead, the first impression that made pilots fall in love with the concept before even thinking about numbers. Target buyers? Pilots looking at the Piper Aero, Cessna Cardinal RG, Sierra, or Baby Bonanza. Rockwell wanted them to see something modern, something that felt like the future, not just another slightly upgraded single. And the emotional pitch worked. The Commander had that wow factor, the kind that makes your stomach tighten a little when you first walk up to it. The problem? Reality quickly caught up with ambition, and the numbers behind that wow would tell a different story. Wait, you're watching right now but not subscribed to the channel. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button so we can move on with the video. You did? Okay. Why, cool. Now back to the planes. But step inside, and this plane really starts to shine. The cabin is wide, 47 inches across and just under 50 high, which in the 70s was unheard of for a four-seater. Climb in after squeezing into a Mooney, Aero, or even a Cherokee, and it feels like someone inflated the space with a bicycle pump. Two proper doors, one on each side, finally let passengers and pilots get in without performing a circus act over the seats. The seating height puts you up just enough to feel in command, while the lifted rear seats let your passengers actually see out, instead of staring at a sidewall. Big windows all around make the whole cabin feel open and bright, giving it that mini cabin-class twin vibe. You sit in that cockpit, glance around, and suddenly you're imagining long cross-country trips where comfort actually matters. Pilots fell in love instantly. There's just something about being in a plane that feels more like a grown-up version of your 172, but without losing that fun owner-pilot connection. wasn't just designed to look pretty, it had to actually take a beating. Gust loads, fatigue, all that engineering jargon that usually makes your eyes glaze over. In plain terms, it was built to handle turbulence, stress, and hours on the clock without turning into a money pit. Rockwell didn't need to shout it from the rooftops, but the message was there. This isn't your dad's Cherokee. This is a modern airplane that feels solid in your hands. For serious pilots, people who actually think about spars, airframe longevity, and safety margins, the Commander instantly had credibility. Step inside, feel the heft of the structure, the solid click of the controls, the way the airplane sits on its gear, and it's clear this thing was engineered with intention. That confidence isn't just comforting, it's a selling point. You can almost imagine telling your buddies, "Yeah, it looks nice, but it's also built like a tank." And for a certain type of pilot, that was irresistible. The first time I saw a Rockwell Commander land, it completely blew my mind. They took a little business jet thinking and applied it to a piston single, fitting it with trailing link main gear, a rarity in a four-seater. The difference is immediately noticeable. Landings feel smooth and controlled, almost like magic, because the gear absorbs impacts instead of slamming or bouncing. Even a slightly late approach turns into a gentle touchdown. The gear geometry also keeps the aeroplane stable through configuration changes. Deploying flaps won't make the nose pitch unexpectedly, and the mains handle touchdown without drama. For the average pilot, it means landings look professional even under pressure. On the ramp, the Commander commands respect. Wide stance, confident, almost like it owns the place. Other pilots can't help but notice a mix of curiosity and envy. It's subtle, but these details make flying the Commander feel truly grown up, combining smooth handling, predictable control, and undeniable presence. This is where the Commander really shows its personality in the air. The cruciform tail is the first thing that catches your eye. Halfway up the fin, out of the prop wash, unlike the typical low-set tail most singles use. That design isn't just for looks. It cleans up airflow, makes cruise smoother, and gives a very steady, predictable pitch feel. Trim it out, and it flies like it knows exactly what it's doing. Takeoff is a little different than you might expect. The tail sits high enough that you actually need a definite rotation to get the nose up. Newcomers sometimes over-rotate, but once you get the hang of it, it feels deliberate and controlled. Landings should be flat, with just a slight flare, keeping the nose wheel from hitting first. Stalls are gentle, forgiving, and almost textbook. Of course, it's not perfect. A light tail waggle shows up in turbulence, and side slip authority in crosswinds is a bit limited. But here's the kicker. It's an excellent transition plane for pilots thinking about moving into turbine airplanes. The handling is honest, responsive, and refined, preparing you for bigger, faster, and more complex aircraft without ever feeling unsafe or twitchy. Then reality hits when you dig into the numbers. That wide cabin, premium interiors, trailing link gear, and reinforced structure all add weight. Outfit the 112A with a proper IFR panel and most owner-preferred options, and the empty weight climbs to around 1,900 pounds on a 2,650 pound gross. That leaves roughly 700 pounds of useful load. Suddenly, that four-seat promise starts feeling optimistic. Fuel becomes the first major compromise. Full tanks hold about 68 usable gallons, roughly 400 pounds in the wings. Do the math, and you're left with maybe 300 pounds for people and baggage. Enough for just you and a medium-sized passenger. Rear seats exist, but more as a suggestion than a reliable option. To adults and luggage? Forget it, unless you sacrifice fuel or comfort. Admiring the cabin and style is easy, but the spreadsheet reminds you, real-world four-person trips are a stretch. Physics doesn't bend for charm, and that's the 112A's tricky reality. This is where the commander runs into an uncomfortable reality. On paper, it simply doesn't compete well. The Piper Arrow offers similar horsepower, but carries more, costs less to maintain, and benefits from a massive support network. The Cardinal RG cruises faster with better efficiency, while the Mooney 201 practically rewrote the rulebook on speed per gallon. By comparison, the Commander's 120 to 130 kTAS cruise feels underwhelming, especially when it burns nearly the same fuel while hauling less. Comfort and smooth landings help, but they don't win spreadsheet battles. By the mid-1970s, buyers wanted numbers, speed, payload, and operating logic, and that's where the Commander struggled. Rockwell's answer was 114. More power, higher gross weight, real four-adult capability, and a 150-knot cruise finally made the math work. But that fix created a new problem. The 114 now competed with Bonanzas and Saratogas, where respectable wasn't enough. Charm couldn't carry it anymore. And here's the harsh truth. The Commander didn't have a single killer advantage. It wasn't the fastest, it couldn't haul the most, and it wasn't the cheapest option on the ramp. Comfort? That's a soft metric. Pilots appreciate it, but spreadsheets don't. Meanwhile, the dealer network was small, and parts weren't always easy to get. For owners used to Cessna or Piper, it felt like buying an airplane from an orphan. You loved flying it, yes, but when it came time to maintain or repair, the lack of a deep support system became a glaring disadvantage. In general aviation, that kind of thing matters almost as much as speed or payload. The Commander's charm could win hearts, but it struggled to win the long-term loyalty or trust of the pilot community. Then the structural airworthiness directives began to roll in. Wing spars, tail attachments, seat structures. None of it was catastrophic, and the fixes made the airplanes perfectly airworthy. But the psychological impact was subtle, yet real. Rockwell had sold the Commander as a tank-like modern Part 23 airplane. Now owners saw themselves spending money shoring up bits that were supposed to be bulletproof. Fair or unfair, the reputation took a hit. Even pilots who loved flying it couldn't escape the feeling that the airplane didn't entirely live up to its early promises. And in aviation, perception often matters as much as reality when it comes to resale value, long-term support, and the emotional confidence of your buyers. Just when it seemed like Rockwell might recover, the marketing team started looking in the wrong direction. Instead of talking to owner pilots, the new strategy aimed at Wall Street executives, Middle Eastern CEOs, and luxury buyers. Ads in the Wall Street Journal and Forbes emphasized air conditioning, plush interiors, and ramp presence. Great for selling a shiny toy, but not for building a loyal GA following. The owner pilots didn't connect. They weren't buying comfort alone. They wanted speed, payload, reliability, and support. By shifting focus to people who wouldn't fly the airplane themselves, Rockwell drifted away from the very audience that could have made the Commander a household name in the piston single world. It was a textbook case of misreading buyer behavior, and the consequences showed up on the ramp and in the sales ledger. Even the best airplane can't fight the world around it, and the Commander was hit hard by forces beyond Rockwell's control. First came the oil shocks of 1973 and 1979, sending fuel prices soaring and turning long cross-country trips into expensive decisions. Interest rates climbed, mortgages and loans became punishing, and suddenly buying a $50,000 to $100,000 airplane felt riskier than ever. On top of that, product liability lawsuits exploded across the general aviation industry, forcing every manufacturer to spend big just to keep wings in the air. Production numbers for the whole GA market collapsed. Even Cessna, Piper, and Mooney felt the pinch. The Commander, beautiful and comfortable as it was, found itself in a shrinking market where pilots couldn't justify buying charm over speed, payload, and the reassurance of numbers they could trust. Sometimes, no matter how good you are, the world just isn't ready. By around 1980, Rockwell quietly wound down single-engine Commander production. Roughly 1,000 airplanes, 112 and 114 combined, ever rolled out of the factory. The company shifted focus back to its core strengths: defense contracts, space programs, and turbine-powered aircraft, where margins were better and the legal exposure less punishing. The type certificate changed hands over time, and several new owners revived the design in small ways, keeping the legacy alive. Today, a devoted community of Commander enthusiasts still keeps these airplanes flying, sharing tips, swapping parts, and celebrating the ride. The planes may not have conquered the market, but they've carved out a niche of loyal fans who understand exactly what Rockwell was aiming for: comfort, confidence, and an airplane that feels like a mini cabin-class twin. Talk to anyone who owns or flies a Commander today, and the words are consistent: smooth, solid, and surprisingly comfortable. The cabin still wows, the visibility is unmatched, and the trailing link landings make even novice pilots look competent. The safety record is held up, and for many, it's the most pleasant piston single they've ever flown. But here's the catch. Look at the numbers, and it's obvious why it didn't dominate the market. High empty weight, limited useful load, and slower cruise compared to competitors meant that spreadsheets and logic didn't favor it. It's the airplane pilots wish they could justify on paper. Emotion versus math, that's the story of the Commander. It remains proof that the best-feeling airplane doesn't always win, but for those who fly it, the experience is unforgettable, the ride luxurious, and the love enduring. The Rockwell Commander didn't fail because it was bad. It failed because it was honest comfort in a market obsessed with numbers. Beautiful, refined, and misunderstood. Proof that in aviation, the best-feeling airplane doesn't always win. Sometimes math flies the plane instead.